So Tuesday now, getting ready for Friday's VE Day celebrations, and I told you I'd do some things that were going to be easy for you to do, and today what I'm doing is something that is very British. It's Scottish, in fact. It's shortbread. Now there's the shortbread I made earlier so that we wouldn't have to hang around while I was baking it. And this is so easy, but I'm going to pop it on here. Because I'm going to reuse this tin. Just got rid of the crumbs. But shortbread, it's buttery and crispy, and really easy the way I'm going to show you how to do it. So what I need you to remember is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 is the easiest way that I've remembered this for years and years. If for every 1 ounce of sugar, you have 2 ounces of butter and 3 ounces of flour. So you can either do 1, 2, 3, or 2 ounces, 4 ounces, 6 ounces, or as I'm doing today, 3 ounces of sugar, 3 ounces of butter. No, sorry, start again. 3 ounces of sugar, 6 ounces of butter, and 9 ounces of flour. And your butter needs to be soft. I've had this out all afternoon, so it's nice and soft. And the better quality the butter, the better quality of your shortbread. And the flour, what I've used, I've substituted 2 ounces of the flour for corn flour. So I've got 9 ounces of plain flour and 2 ounces of corn flour. That makes 9 ounces of flour, so it makes it crispier. Putting a bit of corn flour in it makes the finished product a bit crispier. If you haven't got corn flour, another good one to use is rice flour, and sometimes I use ground rice in it. But today I'm using corn flour. So I'm going to do it by hand just to show you how easy it is, but your butter needs to be soft. So I'm going to put the butter into my mixing bowl. So I've got the butter and the sugar in there, and I'm just going to work them together. Right, so that's the butter and the sugar mixed together. And can you see it's nice and soft, the butter? It makes it easier to work with. And I'm just going to put all the flour in. And just work that in. Now, if you've not left your butter out all day and made it nice and soft, then you could pop it in the microwave and just soften it a bit, but don't leave it too long so that you've got melted butter. It just needs to be nice and soft and workable. Now, can you see this is all coming together now? As soon as this comes together, we're going to work it with our hands. So you need really clean hands for this, but you should all have nice clean hands because we should be practicing hand washing. Right, now you get your hand in and just work it into a dough. It only takes a couple of minutes. There, it's done, look. It's a nice soft dough. Now there's a few ways you can do this. You can either roll this out on a floured board and cut it into shapes, or roll it out into a rectangle and cut it into fingers. But I like to do a round. I mean, if you did this around Christmas time, you could buy yourself a nice little box, make some shortbread, pop a doily in there, in your box, and give this to people for Christmas presents. Now all I do is try and keep it nice and round and just press it out. Try and keep it even and round, and then go round it with your finger and your thumb. And just crimp your edges. Mine's a little bit off round, but with a fork, give it, you're just pricking it, you're not going all the way through. Do your forks that way, then move your fork about. There. Then a knife. This one's a little bit big, but you're scoring it. You're not going all the way through. You're just scoring it. And cut it into 8. Not all the way through, just halfway through. And then as soon as this comes out of the oven, you need to cut in those places where you've already scored it, because if you leave it till it's gone cold, it'll break and shatter and not cut into nice portions. But if you cut it while it's hot, it'll cut through. Now this needs to go in the oven. I put it in at about 180, and it will be about 25 to 30 minutes. It really depends on how thick you've done it. If you've done it really thin, it'll take less time than if it's a thick one. So between 20 and 25 minutes generally. You don't want it to go golden. You need to keep it as pale as possible, but make sure it's cooked through. This is just going a little golden just on the edges. Now that's enough to on there. That's quite enough golden. So this will go in the oven. Now I did a few years ago, I went to weddings in a castle in Scotland, and it was fabulous. And they handed out as little nibbles before the reception some homemade shortbread. Now this would be real Scottish homemade shortbread because it was in this fabulous castle in Scotland. But they got ginger in the shortbread, and some of them had like cranberries, dried cranberries. They were gorgeous. So I did toy with the idea of putting some ginger in here, but I kept it plain because I thought it would be really easy for the children to do if I just keep it plain. But experiment. When you've got it to a dough, if you wanted to put some candied ginger in or some fresh ginger, chop it really finely, and that's the time to put the ginger in. Or I did think about putting some of my nuts and raisins in them to make them a fruit and nut shortbread. But as I said, I kept it easier for the children to do because this is a perfect thing for kids to do. I mean, if they've got some nice little animal cutters or fairy cutters or unicorns or whatever sort of cutters they've got, this is such an easy recipe for them to make them themselves. But they're not going to take very long in the oven if they're just tiny little ones, especially if they're thin. So just check them after 10 or 15 minutes on 180 degrees. Anyway, so that's the second thing I've brought to you ready for the VE Day on Friday. Take care, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you all try it. It's delicious. And I'll see you again tomorrow. So take care, keep washing your hands, stay home and stay safe. Bye.